My brother borrowed money, never paid back, so now I charge him rent. $4,732. That's exactly how much my brother borrowed from me over 2 years. And yes, I kept receipts. Emergency car repair? I covered it. Rent money when he got laid off? I covered it. His kid's birthday party? Guess who covered it? But the day I finally said enough and handed him an actual rental agreement, you'd think I'd committed a crime against humanity. My own mother called me heartless. But wait until you hear what I discovered he was really spending his money on. Hey, story lover. Welcome to the Narrative Hub, Reddit Stories. Believe me, this adventure gets wild, but it's only epic with you. Seriously, you make this possible. Want more stories? Greater adventure? Smash subscribe right now. Smash like. Comment below. Let's go. My name's Alex, and 2 years ago, I thought family loyalty meant never keeping score. My younger brother Jake had always been the one who struggled, dropped out of college, jumped between jobs, never quite got his life together. But hey, that's what big brothers are for, right? To catch you when you fall? The first loan was innocent enough. Jake called me at 11 p.m. on a Tuesday, panic in his voice. Alex, man, my car broke down. The mechanic says it's the transmission. I need $800 or I can't get to work tomorrow. I'll pay you back Friday when I get paid. $800. I had it. I transferred it without question because that's what family does. Friday came and went. No payment. When I asked about it, Jake had this look, you know the one. Sheepish, apologetic, but with that underlying expectation that I'd just understand. Things are tight right now, bro. Can you give me another week? Another week became another month. Another month became, well, you get the picture. The pattern emerges. But here's where it gets interesting and infuriating. While Jake was struggling to pay me back, I started noticing things. New sneakers that cost more than some people's rent. Dinner receipts from expensive restaurants left carelessly on his dashboard when I'd drive his car. Concert tickets to shows that cost what most people spend on groceries for a month. The second loan came 3 months later. This time it was his rent. Alex, I'm going to get evicted. My landlord's being a total jerk about being 5 days late. I just need $1,200 to keep my place. I swear, I'll pay you back the full amount, including the car thing, next month when my tax refund comes in. $1,200. Added to the $800. $2,000 total. The tax refund? It went to a weekend trip to Vegas with his buddies. Over the next 18 months, the requests kept coming, each one accompanied by increasingly elaborate stories. His daughter Emma's birthday party. I can't let her down, Alex. All her friends are coming. I need $600 for the venue and decorations. Emergency dental work. I'm in agony, man. They want $400 up front. His girlfriend Sarah's car accident. She needs help with the deductible. Just $300. Christmas gifts. I can't show up empty-handed to family dinner. Each time, I told myself this would be the last time. Each time, Jake had a reason why he couldn't pay me back yet, but next time would be different. He'd gotten a new job. He was expecting a bonus. His ex-wife was finally going to pay child support. $4,732. I know because I kept every receipt, every text message, every Venmo transaction. Call it paranoia, call it good record keeping, it would turn out to be the smartest thing I ever did. The breaking point came on a random Thursday in March. I was having lunch with my buddy Marcus, venting about Jake's latest excuse for why he couldn't start paying me back yet, when Marcus said something that stopped me cold. Dude, you know your brother was at Topgolf last night, right? Dropped like $300 buying drinks for everyone. My blood went cold. What are you talking about? Marcus showed me the Instagram story. There was Jake, living it up, bottle service, acting like he didn't have a care in the world. The timestamp? 2 hours after he texted me saying he couldn't even afford groceries this week. That night, Jake called with another request. His landlord was raising the rent, and he needed help with the security deposit for a new place. $1,500. Jake, I said, my voice deadly calm. Were you at Topgolf last night? Silence. Then, oh that? Sarah's friend was celebrating her promotion. I couldn't just sit there and not contribute. You contributed $300 to someone else's party, but you can't pay your own brother back a dime of the money you owe him? Come on, Alex, don't be like that. It's not the same thing. That's when it hit me. He genuinely didn't see what he owed me as real debt. In his mind, I was just the bank of Alex. Always open, no interest, no payment schedule, no consequences. No, I said. No what? No, I'm not giving you any more money. And I want to start seeing payments on what you already owe me. The explosion was immediate. Are you serious right now? I'm your brother, Alex. I'm not some stranger off the street. Family doesn't treat family like this. 2 weeks later, Jake was evicted. He showed up at my door at 7 a.m. on a Saturday, looking like he hadn't slept, with 2 garbage bags and a beaten-up suitcase. Alex, man, I need help. I've got nowhere else to go. My wife Lisa was in the kitchen making coffee. She looked at me with that expression that said, "This is your call, but think carefully." Jake, you can stay for a couple of weeks while you figure things out. But we need to talk about the money you owe me. Absolutely, bro. Once I get back on my feet, we'll work something out. He moved into our spare bedroom that day. The house guest from hell. A couple of weeks turned into a month. A month turned into 2 months. Jake made no effort to find his own place, made no effort to get a steady job, and made absolutely no effort to pay back what he owed me. But he did make efforts in other areas. Our grocery bill doubled. Our utility bills spiked because he'd blast the AC all day while he was home job hunting, which mostly involved playing video games and scrolling through his phone. He'd invite friends over without asking, leave messes for Lisa to clean up, and act like he was doing us a favor by gracing us with his presence. Lisa was reaching her breaking point. We'd have hushed arguments in our bedroom about how long this could continue. She was patient, understanding even, but she wasn't stupid. "He's taking advantage of you," she'd whisper. "And he's taking advantage of us." Meanwhile, Jake's social media continued to tell a different story. New clothes, nights out, concert tickets, all while claiming he was broke and struggling. The breaking point came when I found out what Jake was really doing with his money. Lisa had taken his laundry up to his room, because of course he wasn't doing his own laundry, and she'd accidentally knocked over his backpack. Papers scattered everywhere, and as she was picking them up, she saw something that made her blood boil. Betting slips. Lots of them. Jake wasn't broke because he was struggling to find work or because life kept throwing him curveballs. Jake was broke because he was gambling away every dollar he earned and every dollar he borrowed from me. When Lisa showed me those slips, I felt something I'd never felt toward my brother before: pure, unadulterated rage. All those sob stories, all those emergencies, all those guilt trips about family loyalty, while he was literally gambling away my money at the truck. That night, when Jake came home from wherever he'd been, I was waiting for him with the betting slips spread out on the kitchen table. "What the hell is this?" I asked. Jake's face went white. For a second, he looked like he might try to lie his way out of it, but even he wasn't that brazen. "Look, Alex, I know how this looks. It looks like you've been lying to my face for 2 years while you gambled away nearly $5,000 of my money." It's not that simple. Actually, it is that simple. You borrowed money from me under false pretenses. You've been living in my house rent-free for months while spending your money on gambling instead of paying back your debts. And you've been treating me like an idiot the entire time. I gave Jake an ultimatum: pay me back 50% of what he owed within 30 days, or get out. His response? He laughed. Actually laughed. "Bro, you know I don't have that kind of money. Be realistic. Then get out." "Come on, Alex. Don't be dramatic. We're family." That's when something inside me snapped. Not the explosive kind of snapping, the cold, calculating kind. The kind that makes you realize you're done playing games. You know what, Jake? You're absolutely right. We are family. And family takes care of each other. But family also doesn't take advantage of each other. Since you seem to have forgotten that second part, let me remind you what the first part actually looks like. I left the room and went to my home office. For the next 2 hours, I drafted the most thorough, legally binding rental agreement I'd ever seen. Fair market rent for the area. Security deposit. Late fees. The whole 9 yards. When I was done, I printed 3 copies and went back to the kitchen where Jake was stress eating our leftover pizza. Here's the deal, I said, sliding the rental agreement across the table. You want to stay here? Fine. You're now officially my tenant. Rent is due on the 1st of every month. Security deposit is due within 48 hours. And your portion of the back rent you owe me will be deducted automatically from your deposit until it's paid off. Jake stared at the papers like I'd just handed him a death sentence. Are you insane? You can't charge your own brother rent. Watch me. The family explosion. Word spread through our family faster than gossip at a high school reunion. Within 24 hours, my phone was blowing up. First was our mom. Alex, honey, I heard about what you did to Jake. This isn't how I raised you boys. Then our dad, son, I know your brother can be difficult, but family is family. Our sister Emma, I can't believe you're being so heartless. He's going through a rough patch. Uncle Mike, your grandfather would roll over in his grave if he knew you were charging your own brother rent. The worst was our grandmother, sweet, 85-year-old Nana who'd never said a harsh word about anyone in her life. Alex, dear, I'm disappointed in you. Family should stick together no matter what. Each phone call felt like a punch to the gut. These were people who'd raised me, who'd taught me about love and loyalty and doing the right thing. And now they all thought I was the villain in this story. But here's what none of them knew: the whole story. I made a decision that would change everything. I was going to tell the whole family exactly what Jake had been doing with their beloved family loyalty. At our next family dinner, a monthly tradition at Mom and Dad's house, I came prepared. I brought copies of everything. Every loan request. Every excuse. Every betting slip. Every social media post showing Jake living it up while claiming to be broke. Before anyone else calls me heartless, I announced as we sat down to dinner, I want everyone to see exactly what your golden boy has been up to. I spread it all out on the dining room table like evidence in a courtroom. The shocked silence was deafening. Mom picked up one of the betting slips with shaking hands. Jake, what is this? Dad was looking at the loan documentation, his face growing redder by the second. $4,000? Jake, you borrowed $4,000 from your brother. My sister Emma was scrolling through printouts of Jake's Instagram posts. You went to Coachella? While you were supposed to be broke. Jake tried to salvage the situation. Look, everyone, Alex is making this seem worse than it is. Yeah, I owe him some money, but that's between us. He didn't need to air our dirty laundry in front of everyone. Some money. I stood up, my voice rising. Some money? Jake, you've stolen almost $5,000 from me by lying about why you needed it. You've been living in my house for months without paying a dime while gambling away every dollar you earn. And when I finally try to hold you accountable, you play the victim. That's when Nana, sweet, innocent Nana, dropped the bombshell that nobody saw coming. Jake, she said quietly, is this why you asked me for money last month? The room went dead silent. What money? Mom asked. Nana's voice was barely a whisper. He said he needed $800 for car repairs. Said his brother Alex was being difficult about lending him money anymore. I felt the blood drain from my face. Nana, you gave him $800? She nodded, tears starting to form in her eyes. He said it was an emergency. I turned to look at Jake, who had gone completely pale. You borrowed money from our 85-year-old grandmother? While living in my house rent-free, while owing me almost $5,000. But wait, it gets worse. Emma, who'd been quiet during Nana's revelation, suddenly spoke up. Jake, did you ask me for money because Alex was being unreasonable too? Jake's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. How much? I asked Emma. 600. He said he needed it for his daughter Emma's, school supplies. I did quick math in my head. So while living in my house and claiming you couldn't pay me back, you borrowed $1,400 from our grandmother and our sister? Dad slammed his hand on the table. That's enough. Jake, what the hell is wrong with you? Jake tried one last desperate defense. Look, I know this looks bad, but I was going to pay everyone back. I've been going through a really tough time, and I just needed to get back on my feet. By gambling? Mom interrupted, holding up one of the betting slips. Jake, this slip is dated last week. You've been gambling while living in your brother's house for free. It's not what you think. Then explain it, Dad demanded. Explain to me how you can justify taking money from your brother, your sister, and your grandmother to fund your gambling addiction. Silence. For the first time in 2 years, Jake had absolutely nothing to say. The family dinner ended with Jake storming out, but not before Dad told him he had 48 hours to either sign my rental agreement or find somewhere else to live. And you'll be paying back your sister and your grandmother, Dad added. Every penny. With interest. Mom, who'd been Jake's biggest defender just an hour earlier, looked at me with tears in her eyes. Alex, honey, I owe you an apology. I had no idea it was this bad. Emma hugged me tight. I'm so sorry I called you heartless. You were the only one actually trying to help him. But the person whose reaction surprised me the most was Nana. As everyone was leaving, she pulled me aside. Alex, dear, she said, I want you to know that what you're doing, charging him rent, making him face consequences, that's not heartless. That's love. Real love. The kind that's hard but necessary. Jake came back 2 days later. He didn't apologize. He didn't acknowledge that he'd been wrong. But he signed the rental agreement. The first month's rent was due 3 days later. He paid it, barely, and not without complaining about how unfair the whole situation was. But he paid it. For the first time in 2 years, my brother gave me money instead of taking it. It's been 6 months since Jake signed that rental agreement. The transformation hasn't been dramatic or inspiring like you see in movies, but it's been real. Jake got a steady job, a real one, not the gig work he'd been doing sporadically before. He had to, because I wasn't flexible about rent. Late fees are late fees, and I charge them. He started going to Gamblers Anonymous. Not because he wanted to, but because Lisa found out about a program that would help him get his finances in order, and she made it a condition of his continued residence in our house. He's paid me back about 60% of what he originally owed me. The rest is being deducted from his rent payment each month, which means he's essentially paying above market rent until his debt is cleared. He complains about it constantly, but he pays it. Most importantly, he hasn't asked me for money. Not once in 6 months. The relationship today. Are we close like we used to be? No. There's a business-like formality to our interactions now that wasn't there before. When Jake wants to have friends over, he asks permission like any tenant would. When there's a problem with something in the house, he submits a maintenance request. We split utilities based on usage. Some people might find this sad. I find it honest. For the first time in our adult lives, our relationship isn't based on me giving and him taking. It's based on mutual respect and clear expectations. He provides value, rent payments, and I provide value, housing. Nobody's getting taken advantage of. The gambling addiction is still a work in progress. He's had a couple of relapses, but now when they happen, they don't affect me financially. His rent money is the first thing that gets set aside from his paycheck each month. Everything else is his to manage or mismanage as he sees fit. The family dinner revelation changed more than just my relationship with Jake. It changed how everyone viewed him and how everyone viewed accountability. Emma started charging Jake interest on the money he owed her. She told him she was doing it because Alex was right about consequences. Nana, bless her heart, told Jake she forgave the debt but would never lend him money again. You're a grown man, dear. Act like one. Dad stopped making excuses for Jake's behavior and started treating him like the adult he is instead of the troubled kid he used to be. Mom was the hardest to win over, but even she eventually admitted that the tough love approach was working better than years of enabling ever had. If you're dealing with a family member who's financially taking advantage of you, here's what I learned. Document everything. Those receipts and text messages saved me when the family tried to paint me as the villain. Having concrete evidence of the pattern of behavior made it impossible for anyone to deny what was really happening. Don't enable the behavior by making excuses for it. Every time I accepted Jake's latest reason for not paying me back, I was teaching him that there were no real consequences for taking advantage of me. Set clear boundaries and stick to them. The rental agreement wasn't just about getting paid back, it was about establishing that our relationship had terms and conditions that applied to both of us. Be prepared for the family pushback. When you stop enabling someone, the people who care about them will often blame you for being heartless, rather than examining why you felt you needed to take such drastic action. Don't expect gratitude. Jake has never thanked me for giving him a place to live when he was evicted. He's never acknowledged that charging him rent probably saved him from homelessness. And he probably never will. Do it anyway. The most surprising outcome of this whole situation wasn't about money at all. It was about respect. Before, when Jake would ask me for financial help, there was always this underlying assumption that I would say yes. I was the responsible one, the successful one, the one with his act together. Which meant I was also the one who was supposed to solve his problems. Now, Jake asks me for advice instead of money. Real advice about budgeting, about career decisions, about how to handle his co-parenting situation with his ex-wife. Because for the first time, he sees me as someone whose boundaries are worth respecting rather than someone whose generosity is worth exploiting. Lisa says she's seen a change in Jake too. He's more considerate around the house, more conscious of his impact on our daily lives. When you're paying rent, you think twice about leaving messes for other people to clean up. Jake's daughter Emma, yes, confusing that she has the same name as our sister, spends every other weekend with us. She's 8 years old, and she doesn't understand why her dad lives with her uncle instead of having his own place. Jake told her some story about how Uncle Alex and Aunt Lisa needed help with the house, so he was staying with us to help out. It's not entirely untrue, but it's not the whole truth either. I wrestle with this sometimes. Part of me wants Emma to understand that actions have consequences, that the choices her father made led to his current situation. But part of me knows she's just a kid who wants her dad to be the hero of his own story. For now, I'm letting Jake handle that explanation in whatever way helps him maintain his relationship with his daughter. But I've made it clear that if he ever tries to make me the villain in that story, if he tells Emma that Uncle Alex is mean or unfair, the rental agreement becomes null and void immediately. This whole experience taught me something important about family relationships. Love isn't the same thing as enabling. For years, I thought being a good brother meant always saying yes when Jake needed help. I thought setting boundaries was selfish, that asking for accountability was petty, that prioritizing my own financial well-being made me a bad person. But here's what actually happened when I stopped enabling Jake. He started solving his own problems. When he couldn't rely on borrowing money from me, he had to figure out how to manage his own finances. When he had to pay rent, he had to maintain steady employment. When he had to follow house rules, he had to consider how his actions affected other people. None of that would have happened if I'd kept being the generous brother who never said no. As I'm recording this, Jake still lives with us. He's been a tenant in good standing for 6 months now. He's paid down about $3,000 of his original debt to me, plus he's paid back Emma and Nana in full. Is our relationship perfect? No. Is it healthier than it was 2 years ago? Absolutely. Jake knows that if he wants to continue living here, he has to maintain steady employment, pay his rent on time, and contribute to the household. I know that I'm not being taken advantage of financially, and that any help I provide is genuinely appreciated rather than expected. Lisa is happy because we're not subsidizing Jake's lifestyle anymore, and our household runs more smoothly with clear expectations for everyone. The rest of the family has stopped questioning my decision and started asking how they can apply similar boundaries with other relatives who might be taking advantage of their generosity. Jake's lease with us runs through the end of this year. After that, he'll need to find his own place. The original debt will be paid off by then, and he'll have had a full year to stabilize his finances and prove to himself that he can be self-sufficient. Will he be ready? I honestly don't know. But for the first time since this whole saga began, I feel like the outcome isn't my responsibility. I've given him the tools: stable housing, clear expectations, and time to get his act together. What he does with those tools is up to him. If he succeeds, I'll be proud of him and proud of the role I played in his success. If he fails, I'll be sad for him, but I won't feel guilty about it, because I'll know that I did everything I could to help him without enabling him. And that, I think, is what real family loyalty actually looks like. $4,732. That's where this story started. But the real number, the one that actually matters, isn't the money Jake owed me. It's the 6 months of rent payments, the steady employment, the honest conversations about his gambling addiction, and the gradual rebuilding of trust between us. Those numbers tell a different story. They tell the story of what happens when you stop enabling someone you love and start holding them accountable instead. Was it hard? Absolutely. Did it damage some relationships in the short term? Definitely. Would I do it again? In a heartbeat. Because sometimes the most loving thing you can do for someone is refuse to save them from the consequences of their own choices. Sometimes the most generous thing you can do is stop being generous. And sometimes the best way to help someone is to make them help themselves. My brother borrowed money and never paid it back. So now I charge him rent. And for the first time in years, we both know exactly where we stand.